Alright guys, what's going on? So in front of you guys are looking at just what seems like your typical everyday ordinary clear top grinder. Now this grinder is a $20 to $30 grinder. I'd say 20 to 30 because I don't remember how much I paid for it at the time. I've had it for almost about a year, maybe more, maybe less, and yeah. So this is actually not my first grinder. I had tried weed way back. Like, I was working with a buddy of mine that lives down the street, and I asked him if he could try weed, you know, if he knew where to get weed. I didn't even know that he smoked, to be completely honest. I didn't know him that well. I got to know him better as we worked together, and then I asked him, and he gave me like 2 spliffs, and, or, well, not 2 spliffs, he gave me enough for 2 spliffs, like small spliffs, like about 15 to 20 bucks worth, and he was like, here, just try it. Was not good quality weed, obviously. Nobody's going to give you good weed for free unless they're a really good friend or they just want to get off their hands because it's absolute swag. So, that being said, I ended up going to the store that day to buy a grinder. I think it was like $18.99. I think it was like the exact price. And it was similar to this in the sense that it was a 4-piece, but it was not a clear top, which this one obviously is. And, well, it wasn't this one. That's pretty much the only difference, maybe the price. So this one here I've had for a while. The story behind why I have this one now and not the orange one, I'm not going to get into too much detail. All I'm going to say is I did something stupid and the police potentially were going to be called, and this was before weed was legal and yada yada yada. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say because I'm not trying to incriminate myself. I don't know if I can or not or whatever, but let's obviously not take that chance. So, getting into this video, $20 or $30, what does it get you at a convenience store? One thing I want to point out is not to expect absolute craftsmanship. Kind of like you're not going to go to Walmart and expect a shirt to be of the highest quality. Those same standards should apply here, as I don't feel I should need to tell you that, but I am anyways, just because that's the kind of guy I am. Can't say I never warned you, and let's get on with it. So, 4-piece grinder. For those of you guys who are new to grinders, new to the weed life or whatever culture, whatever you want to call it, never really understood what a 4-piece grinder is. That's essentially, quite literally, a 4-piece grinder. 2 pieces, 2 pieces. Technically speaking, I could probably say this is a 3-piece, since this is one part of it. And these are 2 separate pieces. This one used to have a keep screen. I took that out today when I was cleaning it. I literally cleaned it like a few hours before this video was uploaded. Recorded. And just that way so it would actually work properly. That's going to kind of get us into the first drawback of a cheap grinder. You will probably have to clean it a lot more. Now granted, I've been smoking quite a bit of weed lately. I know, not probably the best for me. I've been sleeping a lot, which is good. But that's really because I don't got much else to do other than cleaning. You know, you can only clean and organize and do stuff around the house so much. But in all seriousness, when it comes to the grinder, I've been using it quite a bit. I've only cleaned it once today with rubbing alcohol. I didn't realize you had to do that. Last twice, really? I am obviously medicated, so don't judge me. The last 2 times I just used dish soap and an old brush, like a toothbrush or whatever, and yeah, so I just literally, all I did, just to kind of, so I don't gotta make a separate video on this, it's pretty straightforward. You want to get a Ziploc bag that fits all the pieces of your grinder, and I say all the pieces because some 4-piece grinders, like Raw has a modular 4-piece grinder that you can remove the screens and this bit and that bit and whatnot. All the pieces of your grinder that have been used fit into one bag. Fill it enough with rubbing alcohol that it mostly submerges or fully submerges if you really want to go the extra mile, and swoosh it around in the bag. That's essentially going to start to kind of move it around the grinder parts and slowly start to break it down. Do that for about a minute or 2 and then just let this sit. I noticed immediately, if you guys go on Instagram, at the time of this upload, this will be something you should be able to see pretty easily. You go on the Metro Weed Man, links down below in the description, and I literally took a picture of the before or not really before, but in the process of cleaning it, and then after, which is what this looks like now. And it made a world of a difference with just 20 minutes. So all you need, again, is a Ziploc bag to fit all the parts of your grinder, some rubbing alcohol, obviously the parts of your grinder that you want to clean, preferably all of the ones that have been used and not just the ones that you're using currently. Yeah, and just for the heck of it, do all the parts even if they're not used, just to make sure everything looks nice and, you know, in order. And what you want to do is, again, swoosh it in the bag with the, you know, rubbing alcohol, and after 20 minutes, empty the bag of the alcohol, and you either want to fill the bag back up with water, like hot water, or even warmer water that's close to hot. Not cold and not lukewarm, but preferably hot water. At least hot to the touch. You don't want to, like, burn yourself, obviously, like scalding hot, but yeah. And the reason is so that way it will further clean and get rid of any possible residue that the rubbing alcohol may have left. Most of the time, if not all the time, it doesn't do that. This rubbing alcohol usually evaporates fairly quickly, like as in within like several seconds of coming into contact with like metal or whatever surface you're cleaning. But being that I had this literally in rubbing alcohol submerged for the most part, I just chose to rinse it off. And one thing that I did, and this is what I've done with every single time I cleaned it, I then actually put water inside the grinder. I did it like this. I put it back together, took the top off, I put water inside till I could start to see it through those little holes, and then I put the lid back on, and I did one of these. Shook it around just to kind of make sure that all the little particulates that may have still possibly been stuck to the grinder were removed, or at least loosened up and came off. Take it apart, rinse it off. Did the exact same thing with rubbing alcohol after I dried it off thoroughly with a towel. If you really want to, you can use a hair dryer, but that just takes a little bit longer. But, you know, yeah. And, whoops. And that's pretty much how I cleaned it. Now, again, you want to make sure that this is properly rinsed, because I don't want to take a chance of my weed getting anything on it that shouldn't be. And that's pretty much that. So, performance-wise, out of 10, I'd give this a solid 7. Overall, to be honest with you guys, is it worth buying a grinder at a convenience store? There's going to be two reasons, and I'm actually going to split this into two parts. Is it worth buying a metal grinder at a convenience store, or just cheaping out completely and getting a plastic one? For the plastic one, I would only suggest it for one situation, which is you keep it with you in a bag. Let's say, you know, when you go camping, if you smoke when you go, not camping, sorry, hiking, or if you know you're going to go with some friends to the park, you don't want to bring this big boy with you. You don't want to bring your expensive grinder if you have one, so you bring a cheaper one. If, let's say, it breaks, gets misplaced, or stolen, or whatever, I don't know. I live in the hood, so stolen is a possibility. You know, you're not going to, like, freak out, like, oh my god, my $100 grinder or my $50 grinder got stolen. This is about $20. I would still actually get mad if somebody stole that or if I lost it. $5, $10 on the other hand, not as big of an issue for most. I'm not trying to call out all your broke bitches, but there's a couple of you guys that are watching this, I'm sure, myself being one of them, that's a broke bitch. I'm a basic bitch sometimes, man, I'll admit that. But when it comes to the grinder, I would at only that point recommend you get a plastic one. Otherwise, if it's going to be a daily grinder, literally daily or frequently, as in like multiple times per week, or that's going to be your main grinder, get a metal one. It's just a matter of it'll grind better, smoother. And quick tip that I learned from Josh Cusselman of Raw Rolling Papers: if your grinder, you know, when you're doing this, starts to kind of like gets like stuck, or you hear like squeaking, which I hear usually after about 5 uses of the grinder, olive oil. If you don't want to go and full out like wash and clean it or disinfect it or whatever, olive oil or coconut oil or hemp oil. I use coconut oil every so often, just every so often. You obviously don't want to use WD-40 because that's going to get into your weed eventually, especially when you consider it's going to get into this. And then you're going to, you know, just don't use WD-40. Don't be ridiculous. Anyways, guys, to sum this video up, would I recommend getting a proper grinder as your first grinder? When I say proper, I mean like you're dishing out at least $40 to $50. There are grinders like Cali Crusher that are 25. So I'm going to point this out. You don't have to spend a lot of money, as in like $50+ on a grinder. Kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a larger, like I'm looking for like a 3.5 inch grinder, like one of those big ones like this, because I think those look so gnarly. Just, yeah, you know. And it also helps if you're grinding up a lot of weed, which a lot of times I am. Not trying to brag, you know. But it also, again, it depends if you need a bigger grinder. Or if it's a 2-piece versus a 4-piece. I've only seen a 6-piece once, and I think it was a double keef screen. And I think it was an extension if you had to grind up a lot of weed with 2 keef screens. That's it. That was the. Oh, I don't know what brand it was. If I can find it, I think it was on Amazon or somewhere on the internet. I'll link it down below. But I'm sure if you type in 6-piece keef grinders, or sorry, not keef, weed grinders, it'll show up there. But that's that. Yeah. So again, out of 10, this guy gets a solid 7. I would have liked to see the finish for $20. I'm not really going to complain, but I'm going to be nitpicky here just because I can and because I will be and am. Finish, not the best. Even though it's only $20, I'm not expecting any more or less of it. For $20, is it worth the money? Yeah. If it's something as your first grinder and it's going to be an everyday or your main grinder, I would say get that, and then eventually consider saving up like I am. Consider getting a new grinder. I'm going to compare this with the new grinder that I get. I'm not sure which one it is, so I'm not going to say whether it's the raw grinder or Cali Crusher or the cube one that Push Trees has. Shout out to Dopey's YOLO, by the way. You're awesome, bro. But that's pretty much that. Until next time, though, guys. If you guys are smoking with me in this video, not with me, I'm not smoking, but if you guys are smoking while watching this video, let me know what you guys are smoking with and smoking on, and as well, what grinder you used in order to make that possible. But until next time, guys, smoke on.